Hello, everybody, and welcome to Final Show Films. I'm John, your executive producer here, and thanks for tuning in to watch or listen to whatever it is you're about to watch or listen to. In these trying times, we really do appreciate everyone that feels that we are worth their time, and we hope that we're able to give you something entertaining to while away the time as you spend it. We particularly want to thank those of you that feel like we're worth financially contributing to, particularly our $25 and up supporters on Patreon, who are Antitonic, Drevian Alexander, Cat Waterflame, Rowan Parker, and Samantha Bates. Yes, I read that off of a list. Thank you very much for supporting us. I know that in these uncertain times, finances are tough for everybody, so that you're willing to donate to us means a lot to all of us here, and we thank you. That being said, please sit back, relax, and enjoy.
According to Holly, the sequel's also good.
We're live. Glad to know that Holly thinks the
everyone.
sequel's good.
The third one is apparently not so great.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sector Tavia, a live-streamed campaign in the Lancer universe. My name is Andrew, and I will be your game master for this Final Show Films campaign. I'm joined by John.
I'm John, and I'm playing the person whose profile card is not synced up because I forgot I needed to manually do that for the intros. I am playing Valentine Declan, aka Drake, the pilot of the GMS Everest Fang.
And William.
I'm William. I am playing Vanish, the pilot of the GMS Everest. I completely forget the name of my own ship, Yamitachi.
And Mara.
Hi, I'm Mar, and I'm playing Vereen Dracton, aka Victor, who's piloting the GMS Everest Necessary, Therefore Possible, aka Next. Ridiculously long intro.
We are unfortunately without Cody this week, but hopefully that will not be too much of a concern, depending on what you lot get up to. When we last left off, our heroes, for lack of a better descriptor, had just...
I'm heroic as fuck, thank you very much.
Okay.
When last we left off, our Lancers had recently commandeered a prototype frigate and escaped with it into the space above the planet Everhard.
Oh god, we're technically pirates.
I mean, you're also here because the ship's NHP asked you to help get out of the hangar.
Yes, but legally.
Who
They're
owns
legally pirates.
Who owns an NHP? No one, because
That
they are
depends on who you
non-human
ask.
persons and thus cannot be owned. Therefore, not pirates.
That depends on who you ask. Harrison Armory might disagree with you on that.
Harrison Armory can suck a dick.
What Tyro had noted was that the ship's fuel capacity was currently at 5%, and therefore Central has plotted a course to the nearby city of Solace to refuel and plan our next move. We have some downtime.
Oh, that's right. Downtime activities happen.
We had some
yes,
downtime.
That was. Well, some of us have chosen our downtime actions, and some of us, I don't believe, have.
No, I think we all have. Some of us
We just haven't gone over what they did.
Some of us remember what they are in
Right,
game.
yes, I remember now. Well, who would like to start us off?
I'll go.
All right.
I wake up somewhere on the ship. I don't know where, but I'm definitely hanging from someplace I shouldn't be hanging, with no memory of how I got there. A mostly empty bottle in one hand, my gun in the other. And I'm just sort of like, what the fuck?
hear Central's voice come over the intercom, perhaps slightly too loud.
Lancer, call sign Drake. What are you doing in the engineering deck?
Ow! Not sure. At the moment,
Analysis.
hanging.
Analysis. Atmospheric conditions suggest alcohol fumes.
Yep, lots of those. Oh. Not the first time I've ended up like this. It won't be
I
the
suppose
last.
I shall have to put locks on the engineering deck to ensure you do not scupper the ship in an accidental drunken stupor.
Pretty certain my leg is currently like in a vent.
I have alerted Tyro and Spark. They will be able to extract you.
Now I'm just gonna lay here for a minute. For the people that aren't watching the stream, I'm upside down.
Just turns the camera.
I did.
But yes, eventually Tyro and Spark make their way onto the engineering deck and find you. Hanging upside down, one leg in a vent. It takes them a while to get you out of it. And once they do, high or low, Drake?
Hi.
High. The bottle does in fact remain intact as you fall out of the vent and collapse to the floor. You know there's nothing left in that, right?
There was just enough for one more gulp.
Tyro just shrugs and hauls you back to your feet.
We there yet?
No.
How much longer?
Approximately 1 hour. Enough time for you to sober up.
Enough time for me to get another drink. And I wander back towards wherever I found this first bottle.
That would be storage. Further up into the ship.
Also, this is not the first bottle.
Yeah, there's probably just a couple of them scattered throughout the ship as you've been wandering. You probably don't remember where else you've been, though.
Oh, definitely not.
Blasted nose. Meanwhile,
I can go next, or you can go if you want, Mara.
I'll go next. I trip over a bottle. God, what is this doing here?
That one's mine. I shouldn't have yelled. That hurt.
but yes, Varian, you find that particular bottle in the hallway where the crew quarters are situated.
All right, I'm just gonna kick that off to the side so no one else trips over it, and I'm gonna keep going. I have spent this downtime talking with Spark a whole bunch. I want to get a little bit better at repairing my mech. And he's very good at it, so I have requested some training in fixing things.
Yep, Spark can quite happily point you in the right direction.
Yep. Okay.
So you and he spend a little bit of time in the hangar bay going over the finer details of things like mech engineering, circuitry,
Okay. All right.
servos, all that fun stuff.
Do you have like a book on this? Recommendations?
Spark goes into his mech, pulls out a very large box, and puts it down in front of you. Inside it is 2 books,
Oh
both
boy.
of which are very large.
Oh boy. Okay, thanks. She's gonna gather both of those up and do you mind if I highlight on them?
He just shrugs.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Always print
get
a
it
new
back to
copy.
She's gonna spend she's just staying very busy and away from
That was
everyone
my
else.
voice that you did, William.
What?
Camille's voice was not that deep.
No.
Yeah. Away from everyone else, highlighting notes.
And when you crack
Basically.
into the first tome, as it were, you can see that it is already extensively highlighted.
Okay. All right. Cool. Cool.
So perhaps more for Spark's preferences than yours.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Like, he goes through and picks out all the extremely technical stuff that you have absolutely no idea what it means.
Right. Cool. I'm just gonna skim that. Yep. Yeah. I'll just try and absorb as much as I can.
And that leaves Vanish.
So on the bridge, Vanish just looking over one of the computer screens.
Central, can you get me Omninet access for our destination? I need to troll through some contacts. Omninet communications have been enabled. Browse to your heart's content. Let's see if we can't find someone who's had some issues with these folks who might be willing to put up people arrayed against them. Help us get something set up to hide this shit. Query. Would you like me to run searches for notable individuals who match this pattern? Let me handle it. I need to do some vetting on this. Acknowledged.
And so I run my meet new people downtime action.
Indeed.
I
Meet new
encounter a
people is a new
mercenary.
one.
I encounter a mercenary who can establish a secret hideout.
Mm-hmm. What do you find out about this particular person?
Knowing what Vanish is looking for, they're probably someone who has had a either like an aggressive experience with either the the company we just fought, whose name I cannot remember. I believe we had an identifier for them.
I have never actually given you a name for them yet.
Okay.
And I thought you had.
Not the specific group. There is a force in sector that is named the Mantle of Order, which may be the one you were thinking of.
Yeah.
Is that's the one that we're being tasked to try and deal with?
I think
They
that's
have
I
at
know. I
least-
think that's the one that we are assuming these people are. We haven't actually
Yeah.
confirmed that
That's
they
it.
are.
Yeah, there were assumptions because
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a group named the Mantle of Order has made their presence known, and you have fought people who have opposed you. So it makes sense to assume
Would
these
we
two
have
are
been
related.
able to identify those mercenaries as Mantle of Order?
Yes, you would. Like that. That conclusion is easy enough to make, and you can figure out through your OmniNet trawling that the group that you have most recently fought is just one company that's part of the greater whole.
Yeah. Okay. So I would probably be trolling for someone who has very specifically had negative experiences and is adversarial to either the Mantle of Order or very specifically my target Red Hands. And leaning on that connection of we have something they want or I'm looking for them and I need a place to put this ship down.
Okay. Yep, you find one such individual. They are operating under the nickname of Shrike. That's about all that you get on their personal details. But they do send you a set of coordinates on the outskirts of Solace. It's not a dedicated hangar bay. So you might not be able to put the ship down there, but you could definitely use it as some place to restock and assess your current situation.
If we need to leave the ship in orbit above that while we ferry supplies back and forth, we can.
Yeah, you could do that. Like, you've got the drop chutes for that.
Yeah. So I will feed those coordinates to Central and just.
Here's a set of coordinates that we can position the ship over while we resupply. That should be relatively safe.
Query. Does it have dedicated fuel supplies?
Am I able to find that out?
Well, you know it's not a... what's the word I'm looking for?
Gas station?
Yeah, this is much more of a personnel facility.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be safe for our supplies, but not necessarily we'll have like dedicated fuel lines.
Yeah, and you could land the ship there, but you wouldn't be able to stock it.
Yeah.
Extensively, or as extensively as a spaceport could.
Mm-hmm.
No, we'll still need to find a separate location for refueling, but that should be good for personal supplies and just general safety while we're it.
Acknowledged. Maintaining course towards Solace Spaceport.
Where was I? After about an hour or so, you can see the city of Solace, or anyone on the bridge can see the city of Solace in the distance through the window.
I'll be up there. What's it look like? How big is it?
How big is Solace? Where are my notes? It is the capital city of the planet Everheart, and so is home to the vast majority of the population. It is both wide and high. Very big on towers. But they're not extensively bunched together like you'd see in a central business district. They're all very scattered, almost haphazardly arranged, but there's clusters of them every once in a while, and given that you're looking at it from the horizon as the ship comes in, it kind of just paints the picture of a cityscape, if that makes any sense.
So, I haven't gone into the bridge yet. I'm just outside the door, still a little tipsy. And I just sort of reach over into the holster on my over to the holster on my left hip where my big fuck off pistol is. Open up a small hidden compartment on the bottom of it. Close it again. Pull out about a syringe about that big, basically. Just sort of jam it directly into my thigh just below the holster. Press down as I use my juice stem on me, which heightens senses and alertness, reduces fatigue, and shortens reaction time, which I feel is definitely the thing you would want to use to get rid of a drunken state.
Yeah. It's not going to rehydrate you
no, it's
not going to.
It's not going to get rid of a hangover, but it's gonna get rid of the effects of drunkenness.
Yeah, it's going to wake you up, but you're still going to feel a hell of a hangover.
Oh yeah, that's fine. He doesn't mind it. Yeah, so we just sort of inject that, straighten up a little bit, crack the neck, put it back in the hidden compartment, pull out a cigarette, put it in mouth, light it, go through the door.
You hear the very faint whir of fans starting up as Central once again starts scrubbing the atmosphere.
Yep.
I glance over and then back out. I've got my AI core in my arms, because of course I do. Everywhere. And I'm like pointing it toward the direction, and I'm just gonna kind of say down very quietly if I don't think anyone's near me. So she's trying to pitch it so that no one else hears this. But so that's Solace right there, capital, big city.
Just because I am currently amped up,
Yeah, fair.
do I hear that?
Juice specifically states that it heightens your senses and alertness. So yes.
Okay.
There we go. Beautiful.
So
She's
hear
muttering
that.
to this.
Well, no. I hear
need to
you
be
say
casket.
that. I don't realize who you're talking to.
It's fair.
So I just go, yes, it is. I go to a seat by the table.
Oh, you're here.
Oh, I'm landing it.
Are you sober?
Do I look sober?
No.
No.
Then I'm doing my job.
Right. Okay. So she'll come over and like around the table where we kind of all I think are sitting, right? What's happening?
One sec.
At the moment, we're about to be heading into refuel, and I've also got a contact away from the plant, further out from the main city that can get us a safe place to stay for a while we plan.
Oh. Cool.
Plan what?
Whatever job Central has for us.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Do you have anything central? What are our options?
I have completed my analysis of the local situation. Take a seat.
Look
Sit
around
back.
at the seat that I'm already sitting in. Take it where?
No.
Central's face just turns deadpan, like more so than usual.
Vanish, being obliging, steps over the seat, very much Riker-ish, sits down and just, like, elbows onto the side of the table, fingers laced.
Copycat.
I have an understanding of what is going on at the present time. Results. The Mantle of Order has established theaters of war across most systems of Sector Tavia. The blink gate at Prophet Station is non-functional and occupied by mental forces. Sector-wide Omninet communication remains intact, but I have reason to believe Prophet Station is under heavy guard to prevent any attempts at repair. Hypothesis. Based on the ideology presented in the Mantle's initial broadcast, I believe they intend to choke the life out of this sector until governing bodies agree to surrender and be integrated into the Mantle's ranks.
So they've cut off all access into and out of the entire sector.
Correct. With the blink gate disabled, a retaliatory strike from outside the sector will not arrive for years, perhaps decades.
The table that we're sitting at, I know it's like a digital table that you can interact with. Can you interact it on personal scale, or is it like there's only one interaction at a time on it?
No, there are like controls basically everywhere on it.
Okay, so just while they're talking and I'm still listening, I'm just going to like over on my end, because I'm sitting away from everyone else at the moment. Just sort of run a quick search, if I can. I'm assuming, based on the conversation that has been happening, I'm assuming extranet access has been, or whatever the internet term is for this game.
Omninet
access has been established, so I'm just going to begin a quick query for image likenesses of myself.
Okay. The first thing that comes up is hang on, where
And
is
I'm going to like pat, and as the conversation goes on, I'm just going to like ignore all the ones that I can account for.
yeah, like the first thing that comes up is a bounty.
Yeah.
On
Flip.
a Valentine Declan.
Yeah, flip that past, and I'm just gonna keep. I'm gonna look for. I'm looking for any images of me that I cannot account for.
There's one OmniNet thread. It's buried in. Well, it definitely doesn't look like it's above board. Like it's like it's like the equivalent of a UFO sightings forum.
Yeah.
But for people.
Eh.
It's a very blurred image of someone in a long coat with what looks to be very dark hair, massive gun on the hip, and they're running somewhere. But the caption paints it as being in which system was it? Yes. The thread title is "Saw this guy on Regal Bearing. Might be a bounty in it for someone. Cut me in if it turns out to be legit."
Yeah, I'm gonna set up a not an NHP, but like a CompCon basically,
Yeah.
to just like sort of bounce back and forth for that information, see what information it can gather, and then. So if they're cutting off all access into the system, that also means they're cutting off their own reinforcements, doesn't it?
Correct.
So there's
Hypothesis. They will wish to minimize damage to their fleet in the interest of maintaining a wide presence across the sector.
So
They'll also likely have the majority of their active troops they think they'll need for this endeavor already present.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that means that there's a finite amount of enemies.
Indeed.
Outside of those they recruit as part of their terror tactics.
Another point worth noting is that Union Administrator Korikawa escaped the surprise attack. I have not been able to locate her, however.
Was she at the base?
Unknown.
Escaped an attack where then?
I messed that up.
Was not listed as casualties among the attack on the
Yeah,
the primary gate.
Okay. So did not escape.
Yeah, that works for me.
Was not at the base, but escaped an attack. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, escaped an attack from the gate, then probably headed for the most populated world in the system. Do I know which one that is?
Where are my notes? Sorry, I'm just scrolling through the Planets of Sector Tavia handout.
Take your time. I'm just going to ask you lots of very pointed questions, asking for names and addresses.
Oh, yeah, of course. Let's see. 5, 14, 22, 16.
I like how there's Solace, the capital of Everheart, and then New Solace, the entire planet in the Halehearth system.
Mm-hmm.
Look, they wanted to get away from Everheart, but they liked the name.
If Administrator Korikawa had intended to disappear into the most populated region of Sector Tavia, she would be here.
Well, I don't know if she would disappear into the most populated, but disappear into the one where she has the most control and influence, which is, by the numbers, going to be the most populated one.
it is possible, though. Wait, I don't know that.
Wait, that's information that Central doesn't know.
What are we gonna even do if we find her?
Oh, not much in the immediate sense, but knowing where your local union representative is very important for when you want to establish reinforcements from external union agencies.
For reference, a union administrator to a sector is one of the most powerful individuals in that region of space.
Okay.
Primarily because they are the representative for union, which
Yep.
They're the
carries
sector.
a lot of weight.
They're the sector
Makes people-
president.
Yeah, basically. Some folks in sector might disapprove of union, but they aren't going to refuse her an audience.
And being the Lancers that happen to help rescue a union rep carries a lot of weight in its own right.
Though whether or not Representative Karikawa can call for reinforcements will be moot as long as Prophet Station stays offline.
Yeah, but she's the one we're going to want to have safe when we get Prophet Station back online. I don't know about y'all, but I don't really want to stay here for the rest of my life. I have business elsewhere.
So is our first mission in this task finding Karikawa?
Wouldn't be a bad one, unless there's something more pressing. Would also give you time to get the ship refueled and repaired any ways that it needs to.
Sorry, 1 second.
Get us on the ground, boots on the ground, and get us some favors with very powerful people.
I will endeavor to learn more of Administrator Korikawa's location. In the meantime, I see two possible options to begin acting against Mantle forces. Option 1. We launch a campaign against forces deployed to the Everheart system. Military and naval forces stationed in Solace and Candleflame may be able to assist us, or we them. Option 2. We do the same in another part of the sector.
Most populated planet means most civilians. Also
Indeed.
means the most amount of threat. Means the largest force. Let's start here.
Very well.
Unless anyone has any specific objections.
Against the largest force?
Well,
Let's start somewhere else.
probably the second largest force, really, because the largest force is probably going to be holding the gate.
What does this ship even have? As far as yeah, that's a question I have actually. If I've been like learning some of the like repairing stuff, do I know what's on this ship by this point? Like our
Yes,
combat capabilities as a ship?
Yes, you can consult a prototype
Oh, yeah,
frigate
yeah, that's
handout
it.
that has some
That's
of it.
right. Okay. Would that
this
be
ship-
compared to like what we might be facing? Is I guess a better question. Are we way outclassed? Because that's what I feel like we
By
probably
many numbers, but
We're distinctly outclassed.
Yeah, I don't want.
Yeah, you will have a very hard time going up against something larger than a frigate scale ship. But it is possible to, yeah, you definitely wouldn't be able to take on like a destroyer or a capital ship in a straight fight. But you're Lancers.
Yeah.
You don't
To that- to that
have to do
point.
straight fights.
To that point, our task here would not be leading a military campaign. We are a group of Lancers in control of an advanced prototype ship with stealth capabilities.
Oh, no. No. This is not open warfare kind of thing. This is skirmishes. This is find a weak point, drop in, blow it up, get the fuck out.
To borrow something from my line of work, finding a significant target and eliminating it will
Stab 'em
sow
in
more
squishy bits.
chaos. Will sow more chaos than any military action.
I may have one such target. I have been in contact with my superiors, specifically Third Admiral Harriet Fern of the Solace Navy. She has entrusted this ship to you, given that you are somewhat familiar with its capabilities.
Hey, we're not pirates. We're privateers now.
Okay,
That
that
may-
makes me feel better.
That may be the best descriptor, yes. However, she would also like you to locate and sabotage in some manner a capital ship in this system.
Well, got a couple ideas for that.
What ship?
I didn't think of a name for the ship. Why didn't I think of a name for the ship?
A specific one, or does she want us to just take her pick?
um, let's see here.
The HMS Julius Caesar. Stab it in the back a lot.
According to Admiral Fern's intelligence, a siege force is en route to this planet. Left unchecked, it will move into high orbit and impede the flow of traffic, among other things. Their capital ship is the key to the blockade. Without it, Solace naval forces can launch a counteroffensive.
So we enter that ship and disable it.
Indeed.
So what's the ship called?
Damn you, John.
Gotta know what our target's name is.
Yeah, I know. I just
Look,
I didn't
here,
think of
I'm
that.
going to give you a really great resource that I use all the time. In the Roll20 chat.
Aha. All right. Let's see here.
Where the fuck do you think all the names I pull out of my ass come from on Thursdays?
Your ass, John. Obviously.
Where I have a computer with a direct link to this.
Irma. That's one of the ones I got.
The capital ship has been identified as designation Silent Watcher.
So,
Oh, that's ominous.
so the objective then is to get aboard Silent Watcher and make it go loud. I like it.
Indeed.
Sever the head and the body dies.
That's what I said.
It is not.
Same basic thing.
Either way, I have already formulated a plan for how you might achieve this objective. We have identified the ship. I can print you a breaching charge to get you inside in a way they do not expect.
Stealth capabilities of this ship should be able to get us into their fleet, drop us off with a breaching charge, and have us blow away in through the hull.
Exactly.
I mean,
Conjecture.
I've already got one of those.
I was not aware of that.
Yep. I mean, I'll take two.
Once you are inside, I see two possibilities for how you might disrupt the flow of operations aboard the Silent Watcher. Option 1, proceed to the bridge and eliminate the commander. Option 2, proceed to the reactor and make it go away.
Option 3, go over the top of the ship, place the breaching charge on the bridge, let nature take its course.
A haphazard response with no guarantee of kill.
But it looked cool.
Prioritizing aesthetics over mission success may lead to mission failure.
You got to learn how to make the aesthetics mesh with successfulness. Though.
I stand with the plan of disabling the ship's reactor core. In organized military fashion, commanders can be replaced. The ship's core, less so.
Commanders can be replaced, it's true, when they have the ability to reinforce themselves from outside the system, which you may have recall they do not.
Say the ship's first mate manages to get away.
Doesn't matter. Run with a crew long enough, and somebody that ain't the captain tries to take charge, they're not going to be anywhere near as effective, even if they do listen.
You know what the point of a first mate is, right?
Yes, I do.
To take over in the absence of the
And
captain.
I also know that when you're dealing with a megamaniacal order that prides themselves on putting everything in really straight lines, that second in command is not going to be much of a second in command. You don't try to grab the galaxy by the balls and make it do what you want if you expect your left-hand man to be able to do the same thing after you're done. That's not how these folks work.
Commentary. The more inebriated pilot may have a point. I have determined the identity of the forces that have opposed us thus far. They are known as Black Brake Company. The bulk of their ground forces are primarily standard issue chassis, equipped primarily for conventional warfare and backed by automated units.
Do we have profiles on their commanding officers?
I have only been able to acquire a handful of call signs. It is my belief that the Black Brakes are a proving ground of sorts for those among the Mantle of Order who have yet to experience extensive campaigns.
Right, we tangled with rookies.
Basically.
Precisely.
Notice how they ran away as soon as shit got hard?
More likely to break and run. However, military assets, I feel, crews can be replaced.
They can be.
I would disable the capital ship entire.
You know how they replace crews? With
the crews from a less important ship.
With ships that they fly in. Ships can also be replaced. In fact, I would say ships probably easier to replace than crews, because a crew requires training, a ship just requires slapping together.
A ship of a capital ship scale requires a lot more than just slapping together.
And
especially the reactor core.
Also a lot more training. We could just blow the whole damn thing up and kill both sides, really. Like breach the bridge, kill the commander, then go destroy the reactor. Make the whole thing go boom. Take out half the fleet with it.
A full reactor meltdown might just destroy the ship entire.
Yeah. Would leave the commander time to escape, though. Gotta kill that son of a bitch first. Or he's gonna get away.
I have compiled what I know about Black Brake Company for your convenience.
Pull it up.
Start reading that.
It is a very dry explanation of who these people are and what kind of mix they field, along with the 2 call signs that Central managed to pull.
Yeah, my professional opinion would be go in from the top, reach through the bridge, and work your way down to the engine, destroying any and all systems in the way. We take most of the automated forces offline as you go, get rid of the commander so the human forces are in chaos, blow the reactor, get the fuck out. Central can do a nice loop-de-loop while we go.
A much longer mission than simply inserting near the reactor and detonating the entire ship.
Longer mission, more effective, much more guaranteed chaos. Also, not that long. We're in mechs. We can just bust through bulkheads.
It will have security.
Yeah.
We'll have security, and we'll be moving presumably along the length of the capital ship.
I've got breaching charge. We don't have to go
Open
along
me.
the length. Well, I got one. Central got another. That's two. One to get us in, one to get us to the floor.
And then the reactor, we just hope someone can set it critical.
Okay, one to get us in, and then we hop back up, run across the hole, get back into the reactor. And if I know
Recommendation.
anything, I say, pointing at Victor, I'm pretty certain that one can make that reactor go critical.
Yeah. It's just, this is getting very complicated, this plan.
Punch two holes and kill a bunch of people. How's that complicated?
That's
When you
very much glossing over the number of people we have to deal with.
Space will do most of that work.
This is a mechanized company we're about to be dealing with.
Yeah.
Space won't be dealing with that.
You really think that the mechanized company are going to be able to resist the pull of a vacuum? Sure, they might not get killed by not being able to breathe, but it's hard to run around shooting folks when you're flying towards the nearest star.
You know that any individual mech can be equipped with atmospheric jets, right?
Sure they can. You see any of them on the ones we were fighting?
We were not in space.
So they're just gonna really rapid retrofit those fuckers, huh?
Or, standard issue mag clamps to keep them attached to their ship.
We are discussing a lot of unknowns.
It's true.
Central has just been watching everyone debate this the whole time, looking from one to the other, very curious to see what they do with the information they have.
Your current plan relies on a number of things going right.
Hey, Robomouth, let this one talk. I say, pointing towards Victor.
Disrupting a team would do a lot of chaos, even if we do not manage to blow up an entire ship, which is possible, but difficult and takes time. I agree with the plan to start there at the bridge. And then we can try and get our way through. We should have an exit strategy, though.
I say, pointing at the ship schematics on one wall. Central, those drop pods go up too, don't they?
Indeed they do. I am able to catch you if you escape the ship through some manner of violent exit.
Okay.
For a more effective extraction, however, I would recommend moving through the cargo bay. You may be able to steal supplies on your way out.
Do we have schematics of the layout of the ship we're hitting, or no, is not a thing we have yet, or right now?
I do not possess those schematics at the present time. However, once you are inside, you may be able to find a terminal and get me an uplink and establish an uplink.
Yes. I can do that.
No, you know what? Blah, 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 blah. You know what pattern of command ship it is?
1 second. I didn't think of that answer either.
It's a blah, blah style command ship.
Where's my battle group PDF? I've been using that.
Quick, to the battle group.
For ship names and
You
such.
should get an LCP for it, Lord, in the CompCon.
I don't know
Battle
about
group
the CompCon.
It does not. Battle group is is a whole separate system.
Oh, I know. I'm
It's just in
saying.
the Lancer universe.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying like that. We should get like a compendium entry and just load it in compound.
Battleship hulls. This might be something.
Like you did with the Sector Tavia one.
Yeah, that's true. Although I do plan to expand on Sector Tavia's LCP a fair bit.
Speaking of which, I should download and install it.
Right now, it just has the meet new people downtime action.
FKS Calendula, sometimes referred to as a siege cruiser.
Could do. I was thinking. Wait, hang on. Let me look at the calendula again.
The Calendula. That just sounds like a great name.
I mean, it's a plant.
Yeah, it's a class.
Yeah. Yes, here we go.
The Silent Watcher is a GMS Muir class battleship.
We got any sort of base level layouts of those?
Stand by. Downloading most commonly used schematics.
They'll have a customized version of it, obviously, but it'll give us a general idea where things are. You can only put a bridge so many places on the same chassis.
Ditto for the reactor core.
Yep. And the guns and cargo bays. The bits in between will be any which way, but the major points be the same.
I will raise the point that if our objective is to eliminate this capital ship from being a part of this battle fleet, eliminating the captain of the ship is the least guarantee of that.
You break the bridge, you break their ability to aim, coordinate, and fire. What about that does not remove it from battlefield capability?
If the ship has an onboard NHP, for instance.
They had an onboard NHP, we have different problems.
And at this point, I can transfer us to a mission planning map I have put together.
Ooh.
Behold.
Hey.
Cool. Very cool.
Written in Central style.
Nice.
Enjoy the reading. There's a lot of it.
So, encounter number 1. I'm just going to read it out loud for people listening in.
Yeah.
Holdout. Victory condition. Prevent enemy units from destroying the breaching charge before it fires. First objective, plant a breaching charge on the capital ship's hull, then protect it as it burrows to the ship's interior. Zero gravity environment. Use of flight or EVA is advised. Stakes conjecture. Entering the enemy ship is still achievable if the breaching charge fails. However, it may make remaining objectives more difficult to complete. Signatures detected. Ace ship. Rainmaker. Ace ship. Rainmaker ship. Archer turret. Support ship. Avenger ship and Bastion ship.
Yeah. You will be facing fighter wings.
So ship versions of those.
Yes.
Yep.
The tokens I have made for those are hilarious. At least to me.
Are they what's on the map, or have you made different ones?
I mean, I just used the stock models for
those?
For those, except for the Archer turret, because, hang on, I'll put it in Slack, just to show you.
Please tell me it's just the mech's head attached to a fighter jet.
Oh, it's not just the mech's head. This got silly.
Did you go Transformers on their ass?
Or
no,
or BattleTech.
Oh, see, so if we go to if we do the bridge, we might be able to get access to codes that would allow travel out of the sector. Reinforcements.
Well, no, local gates to other parts of the sector.
Yeah. Reinforcements.
I've just posted the Bastion ship token in Slack.
I love it. It's great. Change nothing.
It's literally a battle tech.
It's just a bastion with a ship shoved up its ass.
Basically, yes, and with no legs.
What's the
Weld.
guardian mode for the Robotech
Yeah.
armors?
But yeah. So, like I said, acquire entry, get to the bridge, take over the bridge, grab whatever we can out of their computers, then shoot the computers, make our way to the reactor core, blow that the hell up, get the fuck out.
We need to have flexibility in case things cascade.
I mean, yeah, that's every situation. That's why you'll notice I'm not putting too much detail on these plans. Put too much detail, you get lost in the numbers, and you can't think when you need to.
Or if the defending forces are too much.
And forces are too much, we get the fuck out. We just move
Withdrawal
that
is
step of the
always-
plan upwards.
Withdrawal is always an option.
Trust me, I've made it through a great many more fights in Mexico. You can always run away. Not always easy, but we happen to have a ship that can just turn invisible and do loop-de-loops. So
I am capable of such things, yes, though I do not know how the latter would be helpful.
that way you're in any given position. Should we have to come out top or bottom or side?
I see.
Also, just because it'd be funny.
Central doesn't respond to that one, instead turning his attention back to the display that he has put up on the holotable.
Well, we're here. So the order already has taken over the capital, yes? Essentially? Or is it mostly in the skies?
Sorry, run that by me again. I'm a little confused.
I want to do recon basically because we do not have
Well,
a whole lot of specific information.
The Order's battle group is on the way. It's not here yet.
Okay, that's right. Yeah. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, no, we murdered the fuck out of most of their on-planet forces already.
Yeah.
Well, some of them.
Mm-hmm.
There was a certain commanding officer with a big fuck-off hammer that didn't actually take part in the fight, but is still planet-side.
I mean, yeah, but we might just have to find and slit his throat.
I don't know, since we have a nod toward Vanish, a base here. If we want to try and do some on-the-ground recon before.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. More information's always better.
First step is definitely getting our ship refueled so that we can even attempt this assault, however.
Refuel, repair, reload, refill some of our supplies that I may or may not have gone into.
What Drake is trying to say is that the vast majority of our alcohol supplies have disappeared into his mouth.
It went into a worthy cause.
Regardless, refueling is already underway. You are welcome for the momentum dampeners.
Oh shit, we are on the ground? I say looking out the window.
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay.
I will say a final time that I mislike the length of this rather than a simple surgical strike. However, if this is the course we've selected, my efforts have been hired.
I mean, we don't have to go through all of it. If we get through the first part and it decides it's too dicey to continue, we can bail.
We would be more confident of our mission success if the first part was the reactor.
No, it wouldn't. The minute the alarms go up on that reactor, the commander gets the fuck out.
The commander wasn't the important part of this battle group.
How many ships do you think they have?
We've established there is one battle cruiser. The battle cruiser was the part that was stopping the planet from launching a counterstrike. That was the premise of this mission.
Central, how large is the fleet that this battle cruiser is a part of?
Oh boy. Funny story, I went into this session unprepared. I was not expecting to be this unprepared.
You just wing it.
I'm just unprepared every week.
Same.
Yeah, well, that works for you, doesn't it?
Sometimes.
Let's see. What goes into a bog standard? Aha, here we are. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. I need to find... Alright.
The Silent Watcher is the primary, the capital, for lack of a better descriptor, of this particular battle group. It is accompanied primarily by frigates.
How many?
Initial estimates suggest at least 3.
All right. So, query. Not for you, for everybody. In a lance of 4, what's more important? The Barbarossa's big gun or the coordination between all 4 of them?
When both are the same, the Barbarossa is the target.
That wasn't the question, now was it? What's more important, the coordination between the Barbarossa and the other 3 mechs, or the Barbarossa's big gun? The answer's right in your front of you. I say, pointing at Victor. This one has a really big gun. I point at Tyro. This one also has a really big gun. But individually, they are not going to turn the tide of any given battle. You have a really big fuck off sword. You have a bunch of stabbing things. By yourself, you can take out a mech. But you individually will not turn the tide of any given battle. I have a bunch of little shit that I can throw around and blow up. I'm not going to individually turn the tide of any given battle. The coordination and communication between the 4 of us is the thing that allows us to win fights.
Mech combat works on a very different scale to ship combat.
Same basic principle, though. Big fucking ships, big fucking guns, only going to be able to take out a couple of targets by itself. But the commanding officer is the one that's going to keep those other ships A in line and B on target, keeping a blockade in place. You take out one ship, he just gets on the next one, and yeah, sure, they're down a few guns.
I'm not sure you understand the difference in size between a frigate and a battle cruiser.
I don't think you understand how military tactics work. Because it's not about the ship. It's about the orders. Particularly in an organization, like I said, that prides itself on putting lines in line. Their organizational structure is going to be the most important thing to them.
The stated goal was to eliminate the battlecruiser so that the planetary forces have the option of counter.
And we will.
Because the battlecruiser has the guns that will obliterate any attempted counterattack.
And we will.
We'll vote on it. I'm going to go down to the planet. See ya.
See ya.
This discussion has become rather heated, is my observation.
Well, I'm cool.
Heat implies any amount of investment. My services have been hired. I offer my input. If it's ignored, then we continue.
Oh, I'm cool as a cucumber. This one's the one that keeps arguing the same point over and over again.
Perhaps that was me, not being entirely familiar with you all at the present time. Either way, perhaps we should reconvene at a later. Either date or hour. Take your pick.
Let's go put boots on the ground and see what we can find out.
I'm assuming we have like communication between all of us individuals while we're
Yeah,
walking around.
Yeah, you can have exchanged numbers,
Yeah.
for lack of a better descriptor.
Cool.
I've got do I have a data plate? I think I have a data plate.
I mean, if nothing else, you have like a
communicator of some kind. Yeah, I've got data plate.
communicator.
Yeah.
Simple data pad, anything else that facilitates communication.
I've got like an earpiece.
Huh.
Yeah.
As opposed to like a phone.
Yeah.
Mm.
And a smart scope, which I intend to put to use.
Victor's got cybernetic implants. I don't need any of that. Just do it over. Yeah, like Google Glass going on or something.
After folks, before I head out though, after folks sort of like start to disperse, I will check on that that query that I set for the CompCon unit. See if it's got any additional information.
It doesn't seem to have found anything new yet.
Okay. I'll set it to ping my data plating and just sort of scrub the terminal.
Mm-hmm.
And then head out.
Okay. Well, the city of Solace is a rather large one that you have all been to previously, or at least been to part of it, as opposed to exploring the whole thing.
Pardon my terrible memory, but is this the place where we were like all met kind of thing, or is this a different planet? I'm not sure of the geography.
This is the same place. We haven't left the system yet.
Cool.
Same planet, but it's not. Is it the same city that the bar was in?
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
He says immediately heading to that bar again.
No, I'm not actually. No, I'm going to go find any number of, and I'm going to go find people that work in shipping industries.
Okay, so like, when you say shipping, you mean interplanetary?
Yeah, like IPS,
Groundside?
like IPS in North Star, or IPS North Star, folks like that, like folks that do interstellar shipping.
Right. Okay.
Because they're going to have because they're going to be invested in the fact that the blink gate just got taken out, and B, they're probably going to have better long range sensors and informants than anybody else on the planet, because money is more important than military.
There is an IPSN establishment in the city, and it is quite easy to find.
On my way there, I'm going to get a cooler, load it with beers, and carry it with me into the
reception.
No, not into the front door. I'm gonna go around to any sort of offloading, like sort of the basically the truck loading area in the back, basically where they actually do where the people where the people that move the shit work, as opposed to the people that write on paper,
run front of house.
Yeah.
All right, makes sense.
Is it a hot day?
Let's find out. Average.
Hot enough. Yeah, I'm going to approach the working stiff with cold drinks. Working stiffs with cold drinks.
The first one that spots you looks up. Hey, you can't be back here.
I can't? Well,
All
shit.
Right, we're working, man.
I got a delivery over here. I say, kicking open the cooler.
Sure as hell don't look like it. Oh.
I mean, I could take this somewhere else, but I was told there's a bunch of hardworking folk back here need themselves a cold drink.
Yeah, well, drinking on the shift is not the best thing to be doing.
I just smile.
I'm sure you know how it is.
Put the cigarette in my mouth. I absolutely know how it is. That's why I noticed that camera over there was turned off.
That particular oh no, I keep wanting to say dock worker, but that's not right.
It kind of is though. Like it's
space dock.
It's a space dock. It's a dock worker.
I mean, yeah, fair. It is basically like a much smaller spaceport than the one your ship is docked in.
And that's kind of
because it caters to smaller craft.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the feel that I was going for. It's like dock workers.
So without batting an eyelid, that dock worker just looks you square in the eye and says, "What camera?"
That's what I thought. I tossed him a drink.
He fumbles a little bit with the box and shifting the box.
If he had something in his hands, I wasn't going to toss him a drink. But I was, I didn't realize he had things in his hands.
So you hold it up, and he shifts the box from both arms to one.
Yeah, and so basically, I'm not gonna make you come up with accents and names and voices. I'm just gonna basically talk to folks around there and see if they have any ideas, or if they've heard anything, or if they have any additional information about what's been happening at the relay, because these are gonna be the folks that have heard about it first. They're gonna have more information than we would have.
Yeah. So what you're able to gather is that they know the main blink gate at Prophet Station is down, like completely inoperable. So nothing is getting in or out of the sector. They have also heard something about local gates not being safe for travel. So what these particular dock workers have been assigned to do is to shift some of the goods out of Solace and into some warehouses for when things will actually be up and running again,
and at
some degree of safety.
And at some point, I don't know how, because I'm not certain of the mechanics of this particular universe, but like the equivalent of flashing a badge, but in this case, instead of a badge, my IPSN license as a Lancer, to A, show that I'm good with the company, and B, see if I can get any additional inroads for, like, hey, if a Lancer group was looking to take care of this, who might be wanting to lend them a hand within the company, who might be able to want to give them access to some information, long-range scanners, that kind of thing.
You'd probably want to talk to the you definitely want to be able to talk to the higher ups. As for which department specifically, they're not certain, but they can basically just like file a report that a Lancer with IPSN licensing and affiliations has come looking for information.
Yes, I'm gonna put that in, give them my contact info, leave them all the drinks. I didn't touch any of them, and then head back out. And we can go to somebody else at that point.
All right. Meanwhile, Varine.
Yes.
About 10 minutes after leaving the ship, you get a call from Central.
Oh, okay. I am in a grocery store attempting to get better coffee than what is on the ship because it is not adequate.
Yep, fair.
Yeah, I need higher caffeine.
Unsurprising. The scientists working on this ship might have needed some themselves, but they only got the cheap stuff.
No, yeah, that's not gonna do it. Yep. So I will juggle things in my hand and pick up. Yeah.
I have received a burst transmission for you. I do not know how they got this number, and I have not been able to scrub it.
Don't know how they got this number.
I don't know how they got this number. And they won't leave me alone.
Right.
Would you like me to patch it through to you?
Is there a way for me to check it? Not really right now, is there? I'd need to.
You could pull it up on your data pad.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
It has no subject. Seems to have come from outside the sector and has an attachment.
It's written in that degrading text font.
No, there's no subject, no body, just the just an attachment for some sort of like. It looks like it's labeled as some kind of programming suite, and it has an audio message embedded in it that is programmed to play when you open it, open the email.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like the title of the file is in the degrading font. No idea how they did it.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna. Thanks. She's not gonna open it yet. She's gonna finish up what she's doing and find a quiet spot to listen to this.
So, several bags of coffee later.
Yep.
You are able to basically just like find a nearby wall where no one else is hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
And when you open the message, it plays.
Congratulations, pilot. You have been chosen. Access is yours, as long as you can keep it.
It cuts off abruptly.
What the hell?
And as it does so, the second attachment unpacks of its own accord, and you suddenly realize that, hey, this is mech scale stuff. Stuff that could go in an Everest, maybe.
Oh, is this the
That's your
It's a
license
goblin
purchase,
license,
yeah.
yes.
excellent? She starts grinning and looking through it all the code, because that's her family.
It is a mess in a lot of places, but it somehow makes sense.
Okay. All right. Cool.
No one knows how Horus code works.
Nope.
Curiously, the file ownership is already listed to your. The file authorship is listed to your name.
All right. Okay.
First publication date was about 60 years ago.
Okay. Well, I had other stuff I was thinking of doing, but
Yet
nope,
she
this
won't
is more
write that
important.
code for another
immediately.
50 years from now.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back to the ship and start pouring this over. I want to show Gus. Be like, look at this. These are the parts that work. And yeah, I'm engrossed. I'm gonna break into that coffee too. Drake's got his drugs. I've got mine.
Which closet?
You want to run that by me again?
No, she said I was going to break into that closet too.
No, Drake's
Oh,
got
no,
his
no.
drugs, I've got mine.
Yeah,
I've got mine.
before that it was something else.
No, break into
Oh.
that coffee.
Oh,
Coffee.
break
Yeah.
into that
Yep.
coffee. Sorry, I heard break into that closet and I was very
No.
confused. Like what?
No.
closet?
There's just a locked closet somewhere on the ship. It doesn't have a door. It doesn't have a door handle. Nah, that would be silly.
Vanish is going to head down and meet Shrike
Okay.
and get that potential base of operations set up.
Yeah, it's on the far side of the city from where the hangar bay where you landed. but it's easy enough to get to. One thing you do remember from when you're reading and establishing Shrike as a contact is that this place is not listed on any major map. The closest a taxi could get you, if you wanted to take a taxi, was to about 3 blocks down, because the thing about Shrike is they can only be found by those who know where they are.
Works for me.
Yeah, you take a trip through several alleys, and eventually end up in a dead end with a single door at the far end. You would also note, due to your extensive training and battlefield awareness, that there are several hidden cameras and an explosive tripwire.
I will very clearly and obviously, with the blade that I carry with me, just sheath, holding the sheath in my offhand, just walk forward, step over the tripwire, past the cameras, not bothering to hide myself from the cameras. And very with the cybernetic arm, just knock on the door.
After that first knock, the door opens and a figure with a hood over their face and a long shrouded robe beckons you inside, shuts the door behind you as soon as you're over the threshold. Vanish.
Strike.
Good. They pull back the hood to reveal a middle-aged man, late 40s, short hair, dark eyes, covered more than a few scars, but he leads you into the main room of the base. It is set up with the intention to either, well, no, that's not right. Let me try that again. The base is set up to be. It is arranged in a very defensible position. There is, as far as you can tell, there is only one way in or out, and that's through the door you came in. There's a stripped down. There is a large square display table, similar if not identical model to the one on the bridge of your ship. It's not currently displaying anything as it's been turned off, and there's a stripped down rifle in several pieces with a toolkit nearby. Can I get you anything?
Recognizing the respect of this moment of this person revealing themselves to me, reaches up to the collar, to the neck of the helmet, and there's a click, and there's a release of air pressure as she pulls off the helmet, revealing a somewhat dusty tan skin with an undercut that sort of falls down to one side that ends in red tips. Black hair that ends in red, with these sort of dark brown eyes. No, but I appreciate the offer, and I appreciate you providing this place of safety.
It's not often I get people looking to contact me for a place to hide. But I imagine business for similar places will be in high demand now that Profit Station has been cut off.
Indeed. And we seem to have taken a ship that the individuals behind the attack on Prophet Station might want, so keeping a low profile from them seems optimal.
Yes, I heard about that. Some manner of skirmish several hours out from here.
Indeed.
They've already landed planetside, which means people need to get their asses into gear.
It looks like our next job is going to be handling their battle group incoming, so hopefully that'll give everyone else time to get themselves moving.
Interesting. If they're moving battle groups into positions over planet, that means they probably have control of the local gates as well. That's going to be a tougher nut to crack.
Supposedly the battle group coming in only includes a handful of frigates and a battleship. The battleship will be the only one that actually has the capacity to siege the planet properly, so if we can eliminate it, planetary defenses should be able to handle the frigates.
Yes, that makes sense. Take out the ship, take out communications, and a good chunk of their offensive capability as well. A handful of frigates isn't going to do much against the Solace Navy.
Or against the planet. They can't really hold a planet hostage with only frigates.
Indeed. They would have to call in reinforcements, and that would divert forces away from other parts of the sector if they were dead set on besieging the Everhearth systems. Well, guess it's time to dust some things off.
This place to restock and resupply before we head off into the battle group will be appreciated.
Yes, I've got a few bedrolls in storage you can use if you need a place to nap. Spare arms, ammunition. I admit some of the food rations might need to be replaced. This is just one of the bases I keep on hand. I haven't been back here in a while. Good to know the, well, he pulls a data pad from a pocket in his cloak and flicks through a couple of security feeds that you can see. Yep. You might need to warn your friends about the tripwire. I only put that in a few days ago.
I'll let them know when I give them the coordinates.
And you're sure these people can be trusted?
One of them is altruistic to a fault. I'm not worried about him. The other one is naive and less likely to be a danger in that regard. I don't think I distrust them with this hideout. Whether I trust them to get the job done is a different question. But that's why I'm here.
Yep. I hear that. You know, I might still have a few other contacts in the sector. Do you want me to see if I can pull some strings? Maybe land you some places on other worlds.
It'd be appreciated if we could have somewhere that we can put down safely. I imagine we're going to be moving across the sector's planets in our attempts to deal with this problem.
Right. Okay. Yep. I know at least one pilot I might be able to put you into contact with if you manage to breach the blockade holding the local gates. But that's a problem for another time. Right now,
If this battleship was commanding access through the local gates, we might be able to steal the codes from their ship.
Interesting. Though I doubt that spreading those codes would be useful because...
No, they'll just change them, but we
Exactly.
might get access for ourselves. And a select handful of specialized agents.
Yes, I imagine keeping the knowledge that you have enemy access codes under wraps would be far easier if those codes were only used for 2 or 3 ships at most.
Indeed.
One is ideal.
Definitely. However, as the person who has done me this favor, if you request access to the codes once we have them, I will be willing to share.
So noted. I don't know when I'm going to need them myself, but maybe I'll pass them on to someone who does. But again, problem for another time. What matters is that you and yours will be safe here. Your location will not be known, except by those who wish to find, who know where we already are. And those people are outside of this system. Some
I thank you for
outside of the sector.
assistance. I thank you for the assistance.
Yeah, it's the least I can do, given there's an invasion going on, and, well, suffice it to say I lost my licenses more than a few years ago. Helping someone who does still have access is the least I can do. Make yourself at home. Just don't touch Bell. He jerks his head towards the rifle on the table.
Of course. I'll make sure that neither of them do either. Well, none of them. The other one I wouldn't expect to, but...
Yeah, no worries.
She reaches up to her neck, taps the Prasa collar, and just over the private comm channel.
I'm sending you coordinates to our safe house. Mind the tripwire out front. It leads to an explosive.
Oh, great, cool. Several exclamation points. OMW.
And yeah, I will send a data burst with the coordinates and relevant information of location of tripwire in case just being warned to look out for it is not enough.
That's fair.
Yeah, you just borrow like a screen cap from Shrike's security feeds.
Yeah.
Then just draw a line on it.
Yeah. Right there.
So yeah, you're able to reconvene at the safe house if you so desire.
Helmet goes back on before anyone else shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Hey! She looks much chipper than she has been, and cheerful, which is possibly disconcerting.
Welcome to a safe place.
Cool. This is pretty cool.
Don't touch the rifle.
Indicating to the rifle on the table.
Got it. Wasn't going to. Is Drake back as well or not?
Probably on the way there.
Okay.
Yeah. So Shrike will just look up from the one bit of the rifle that he's going over with a fine-toothed comb and a small brush. Looks up, gives you a nod. Need a drink or anything?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
He just looks at you, notices a little bit of body language. Right, coffee, never mind.
I'll just be over here. And she's gonna find a good corner to sit in and keep pouring over code.
There are a couple of dusty couches along the walls. Well, maybe not even dusty, really, given that the place hasn't actually been used and therefore wouldn't gather dust.
Okay.
I don't know why I don't know why I keep thinking of things being covered in dust if no one is using them.
Space is dusty. No.
Things are dusty. When I do arrive, I'm going to basically spot tripwire and any other traps that might be along the way. And
it's just the tripwire and the cameras at the moment.
Walk past them as if I don't notice them. Like so that anybody watching would be like, he's not looking where he's going. He's definitely going to step in. He happened to just step past that tripwire.
I mean, the only person who would actually be watching would be Shrike.
Yeah, but I'm sort of just maintaining the facade of uselessness, kind of.
Yeah.
As I just walk past, walk past it without slowing. Open the door, pause for a second, kill the cigarette, toss it into a bin.
Hey,
Yo,
Welcome to a safe place to restock.
cool.
Don't touch the rifle.
What rifle?
Indicates to the rifle that Shrike has on the table and is working on.
Look at the rifle. Look at Shrike. Nice rifle.
I'm gonna scoot away from the rifle.
Rifle's on the table.
Further. Yeah, I
you're
know.
at a
I'm just
wall.
gonna go further away. I'm concerned about this now. Suddenly, it's okay.
Two warnings make it a danger.
Yeah.
Yeah, just look at the rifle. Look at Shrike. Nice rifle.
Thank you. She's a work in progress. But then again, aren't we all? Need a drink or anything?
God, yes.
All right. He very carefully sets down the part he's working on and finds a fridge fitted into the wall. Pulls a couple of cans and tosses you one.
Catch. All right, so did we learn anything useful?
Got some new code.
Well, I told your buddy Vanish that there's a very good chance that the local gates are under hostile control, just as much as the big ol' winner profit is.
I can raise you a very good chance and say they are absolutely with 100% certainty.
So noted.
Just got done talking with some IPSM folks. As, people that do interstellar space travel are the ones that keep an eye closest on these kinds of things. May be able to get access to their long-range sensors, get a little bit more information on the incoming battle fleet. Just gotta wait for a contact. But yeah, no. They're hard locking down everything that they were about to ship out of system, putting it in warehouses. Nothing's moving anywhere.
Yeah, not surprising. It'd take far too long to go by conventional FTL. IPSN's real big on the local gates.
Yep.
They're kind of hoping that this little field test that Union's running is going to be rolled out across larger portions of the galaxy.
Well, hopefully they'll be interested in sharing additional information and resources with a bunch of Lancers hoping to solve their current travel problem.
Yeah, here's hoping. Haven't heard anything about any other Lancers being around, so you lot might just be the salvation the sector needs.
Don't say it like that. That's that sort of like destined hero bullshit that gets people killed.
I don't believe in that either.
I mean,
It amuses me to see what people say when I bring it up.
I mean, it's not I've seen people say shit like that, and then 2 minutes later, dead.
I mean, yeah, I've heard stories of a guy who believed he was big on this whole big on this whole grand destiny, and then he got sucked into a jet turbine.
Yep. Had a sergeant once gave an inspiring speech about how you're all big damn heroes and no one's gonna kill you, and then he took a sniper shell to the face, like mid speech. Don't do that shit.
I mean, yeah, if you're going to do speech making, you do it before the mission.
I mean, yeah.
Grand destinies are very often averted by foolhardiness.
I mean, that jet turbine was part of a reactor core, so...
Anyways. Yeah. Got some feelers out, got some information coming back, hopefully. Drink the rest of the can.
Shrike hasn't touched his yet.
I finished the can. I look for a recycling can.
There's a small box in one corner. It is empty.
Do I get it in the
Ding.
box?
It bounces off the rim onto the back wall and then in.
Close enough. So is this part where we just sort of stand around waiting and quiet, or
Make what preparations you need to. I need to gather some equipment.
Yeah, there's spare guns, ammunition. Probably best to skip the rations.
I got all the gun I need right here. It says, patting the revolver on his hip.
You got your own Corabell. Fair enough. But yeah, if you got planning to do, this is a place to get it done.
Vanish.
Nothing about it's going to leave my lips.
Vanish very specifically walks over to one of the sections of ammunition, and it becomes very apparent that the off-color piece of the armor on her right arm, like the most of her body armor is crimson. The right arm's armor is like plain steel. It becomes very apparent why, as the hand, like with her left hand, she reaches out and grabs a selection of shells, and the right hand sort of twists 360 degrees upside down, and a slot opens up in the forearm, and she starts to slide ammunition into what is now very clearly her cybernetic arm.
Oh boy.
That explains the design choice on the mech.
Shrike doesn't bat an eye. He's just cleaning the gun.
Cool. Well, if nothing else, I'm gonna go sit down. I'm gonna go find the most comfortable chair in the place.
There are couches.
That's the most comfortable chair in the place.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Given that Vereen is occupying one couch, the other one does currently have enough space for you to veg out on, as it were.
I'm getting some sleep.
Do you snore?
Oh yes. Was that ever in question?
I mean, I didn't know. I had to check.
He's Italian. Yes, he fucking
Turn-
snores.
I press the power button and I start staring at you.
Do you need noise cancellation?
No. No. I'm gonna nudge him with my foot. Hey,
There's the sound of a gun unholstering and the barrel is pointed at you.
look, it's just
He's still asleep.
that's I'm gonna move out of the way of the gun.
He is still asleep, but that gun is just right there.
Is it tracking? She moved.
No, it's not tracking.
Okay, good.
It
She
just pointed in the
moves.
direction of where the initial touch came from.
Yeah.
His reaction is if he's asleep and something touches him, the gun is pointed at it.
Hey. Hey.
You try to shake him awake again?
Can I? Yeah, I'm going to. I'm gonna try.
Okay. The second shake.
I'm poised this time. I'm gonna duck as soon as like
Gun's already out. It's the second time. Yes,
you're snoring.
I know.
Okay, can you go do that somewhere where there's like a wall between us? You're very loud. I can't concentrate.
What are you concentrating on?
I'm reading code. New license.
Woke me
And
up
then I
for
was
that?
going to see if I could find some more information about the ship we're going up against, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm waiting on.
Keep going. What?
Information about the ship we're coming up against is the thing I'm waiting on. Did you miss the
Right,
whole?
can you wait quieter?
Oh. It'll be easier
Shrike
for you.
looks up at this. Victor, if you need some peace and quiet, there are a couple of rooms in the back.
Okay.
I'll say it'd be easier for you to move than to wake me up.
I was here first. That's very quiet. She leaves.
Just
gun
like
gets-
scoops up
the gun
the
gets
casket,
reholstered.
mutters to the casket.
Yep.
There's just this long drawn out look between Vanish and Shrike.
The gun gets reholstered. He goes back to sleep.
Meanwhile, me desperately trying to think what other information
I want
can
to try
give
and
you.
do something. I want to
Oh.
try and hack into Drake's mech to change the color scheme of all of his controls.
That is something.
It's currently powered down and has no comp con or NHP in it.
Okay, I don't know what I
Or
can
whatever
do.
that's worth.
I don't know how this works. I've got a hack skill. I want to mess with him.
I feel like the time honored tradition of pranking
Yeah.
your fellow
Uh-huh.
pilots is
Exactly.
alive and well.
It's begun.
Yeah, you can put what's the words I'm looking for? Yeah, you can set up a bridge through the ship to. You could easily set up a bridge through the ship to your mech.
Okay.
It takes a little bit more to redirect that through next to another one.
Okay.
Roll a hacker
So it's kind of
fix.
going through a couple of different nodes for not sure what the right word is there. But yes,
Couple different
the mech
jumps,
is.
but yeah.
But yes, the mech is currently powered down.
Mm-hmm.
So
Can I just do it so that when it boots up again, it'll like run slightly different thing?
Leave a dormant code sequence for boot up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me just double check and see. I need to reread the rules on rolls in downtime because they should always have some manner of consequence of failure.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise,
For a downtime activity, yeah, but
yeah, or just
This-
in narrative play as a whole.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it specifically says here, if there are no consequences, then you automatically succeed. So I'm trying to figure out now.
I mean,
what
the consequences
will
of
happen
failure
if-
are you're not able to get into their mech and make that change. Like,
I mean,
Or if
yeah.
it-
Or
it's-
you make that change to
that's just
someone
us.
else's mech.
That's awesome.
Like you try to make it to Drake's, but if you fail, you make it to Vanish's.
Let's see here. Yes, before a rule is made, the GM must outline the consequences of failure. They can only inflict consequences that are clearly established this way. Okay, so I am going to say that if this roll is not passed, then something else happens with Drake's mech.
Okay. All right.
Like,
That's not clearly established at all.
no, it isn't. I'm trying to figure out what the right words are. I would say that like every Everest chassis operates along the lines of like dormant systems that can be fired in emergencies to get this thing up and running quickly, like flash booting, as opposed to the typical startup sequence that you normally use.
Yep.
When you're not like desperately in need of much more firepower than you currently have. So I'm going to say that if this doesn't work out, you will trip those and boot up the mech.
Okay. I'm fine with that. He's asleep.
So now you can determine which trigger you want to use for this.
Hacker fix.
Okay. So you need a 10 plus to achieve what you want.
Oh boy. Okay, it's a d20 roll.
Yep.
Plus your
Plus your hack or fix score.
That's +4. All right. Let's do this. I can't wait to fail miserably. 14.
Is a success. So
Excellent.
the next time Drake's mech boots up, what do you want to... Oh, you know what? We probably don't actually need to get into that until Drake next boots up his mech.
I'm good.
Okay, so you are able to breach the dormant protocols and
mess with the control scheme.
Make a few subtle changes of your own volition. We'll figure out what those are at some point.
That's what I'm doing.
You later notice when you go back to reading through the new code you've acquired that there is a smiley face in it.
Ooh.
It wasn't there before.
Fascinating. I ponder that. And I keep reading.
Yeah, it's weird. Right, where was I? Trying to think of what other information I can give you about this capital ship. Honestly, it's a little difficult without Cody around, so maybe we come back to it. I'm not certain.
You?
I admit my improvising skills are at reaching.
I was expecting Vanished or Victor to just start like trying to dye my hair while I was sleeping or something like that.
Oh no. I got that done.
No, she'll dye the mech instead. Or something. We don't know.
We don't know.
I see. Victor is smarter than to go after the person who pulls a gun when you touch them when they're asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't exactly do the whole shaving foam in the hand thing.
I wonder what that says about Drake, that he's able to accurately aim a gun at someone that's touching him while he's asleep.
Good. Nothing
He's
good.
very paranoid.
Something about instinct, something about basic stimulus response behaviors.
Like how many times has that happened to him that he's able to do that?
I'm also going to go through any sort of kitchen area we might have and hide my coffee because I'm not sharing that shit.
Oh, I imagine you'd have left that on the ship.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, because like you've each got a room there, and so you can lock those
Got
and
that.
key the
So
lock
that's
to
what's
your
in the closet.
Yeah.
Is a lot of coffee.
So, do I eventually hear back from IPSN at all?
I don't know what they're going to tell you yet because I
All right,
can't
that's
think
fine.
and talk at the same time. Brains are hard.
That's fine. Braining is difficult quite often, I find.
Yeah, especially when even a smaller group of players ask questions that you don't know the answers to off the top of your head.
Hey, it's okay. Because sometimes you get to ask those questions of the players. That on Thursday, I got to ask Camille what he thinks his character's favorite food ever was, and Camille was like, "I have never been asked that question in a D&D game before."
But
Much
yes,
less by the
when
GM.
we reconvene in a couple of weeks, I will hopefully have that information for you.
Fair
But
enough.
yes, I think we will wrap it there for today.
All right, so we'll call it a little early there. So in that case, say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.